We are going to turn our attentions to the north side of Chicago, where the baseball team is been in a bit of a slump lately. They've also been hit with a double dose of watching their team to the north, the Milwaukee Brewers, get hotter than shit, if I can steal a phrase from the late, great Lee Aaliyah. Sorry. Yes, the Brewers are hotter than shit, and the Cubs are just... it looks like Pete Crow Armstrong and some others haven't come back from the All-Star game yet. Is that putting it nicely?
Sure.
Okay. So this has all led to a changing of the guard atop the National League Central Division. And this happened a while ago, but I was reminded from Jeff Passan because of the fact that division changes are happening across baseball. With the Padres, of course, overtaking the Dodgers. We've seen the Phillies overtake the Mets, and now Brewers overtake the Cubs. Even the Blue Jays have overtaken the Yankees, and the Astros and Tigers both a little bit on the hot seat. Mm-hmm. So changes in the air, and the Cubs fall victim, and they lose their early season divisional lead. I didn't think this was going to happen this year. Are you concerned about the Cubs, Nika?
Yes, I'm concerned about the Cubs.
Me too.
They haven't done enough before the trade deadline.
Yeah, we did a segment about the Padres earlier and how they've overtaken the Dodgers, and not going to get into all of that here. But one thing I do want to say is the Padres got such a burst of energy from the trading deadline moves that their team management made, and they're not immune to knowing what's wrong with their team, and they know where they need fixes, and management goes out and does that, and it's a jolt in the arm, man. It's electricity for the locker room. They are feeling like winners.
The same statement applies to the Cubs. Most players know where they have holes on their team.
Absolutely. So we questioned whether the Cubs went out and did enough. Did they get a reliever and a starting pitcher to fortify enough of their bullpen? Mike Soroka, I don't know.
Who?
Yeah, he's already injured, and nobody really knows if he's going to even be able to get back for this playoff run. They got some other nice pieces at the trading deadline, but they didn't get that big name starter. Mm-hmm. Like they didn't get Dylan Cease, Sandy Alcantara. Anyways, I've been listening to The Score in the morning. The Score is Chicago radio, and they carry the Cubs games these days. So they are talking a lot about the Cubs. And I've been also listening because football season is getting underway, and I'm still a big, big Bears fan as well. So been getting primed and ready for the first Ben Johnson season. Oh. But I noticed something on The Score this week, Nika, and they're not handling the Cubs' play of late very well.
No kidding.
As we've said before, they are kind of, quote, jumping off the bridge, right? Emergency. So I collected a few of these clips because I wanted to do a little presentation on the ever-changing landscape and the mindset of the Chicago media as the Cubs possibly on the verge of, I hope not, collapsing. Because the Mets are doing everything in their power to collapse right now. The Phillies are not playing the greatest baseball right now. And so the Cubs should be able to make the playoffs. They should be a playoff team with everything they have out on the field. But I feel like some of the reasons why they're lethargic right now is because deep down inside, they know they didn't do enough at the deadline to compete with some of the other teams who might have. I want to start with Bruce Levine. He's a baseball analyst for 670 to The Score, and he always calls in.
Now, can you say whether it's a playoff team or not?
Yeah, it's a playoff team. But you look at the Yankees, you look at the Mets, you look at the Tigers, all these teams that were superlative early in the year have run into the same problems, that they are just not playing good baseball. The Mets have lost, 12 out of 13. Yankees manager looks like instead of 52, he looks 82. Aaron Boone looks like he hasn't slept in a month. So you have all these things going on in baseball. It's not just here in Chicago. Certainly you worry about the Cubs and Chicago baseball because that's where we live. But the reality of the game is there's a lot of struggling teams out there. There's a lot of question marks in other big cities, including Los Angeles, of what is the quality of your team with about 42, 43 games left in the season.
Boy, oh boy, I have a lot of nitpicks with what he just said here. First of all, like, why are we comparing the Cubs to other teams in the first place? I don't care what other teams do. I really don't.
Exactly. If every team is jumping off the bridge, you have to go and follow?
Yeah, I guess. I don't disagree with him that the Mets, Tigers, Yankees, and Dodgers have also been struggling right now. But why does that make it okay that the Cubs are struggling? It's not okay. It's not okay for those teams to be struggling.
That's their problems.
It is their problems, but it's just a cop-out answer from an analyst that's getting airtime on a major CBS radio station in Chicago.
It's a boomer answer.
It is a boomer answer. It's a really bad answer. I question, why is he not mentioning the Padres, the Mariners,
because
the
they
Brewers,
are not struggling.
the Blue Jays?
Because they are not struggling.
Of course, but they all made big moves also at the trading deadline. Those
you know
teams.
what this is? Playing down to your competition. You compare it to the teams that are struggling, not the teams that are doing well.
I guess to leave those teams that I mentioned out of the conversation, to me, is totally dishonest.
Of course. Cherry picking.
And I guess the other thing is, too, if you want to point out that these teams are struggling, then why not call the Cubs out for not smelling blood in the water here and punishing them for it and making a big move like a Mackenzie Gore or a Dylan Cease or a Sandy Alcantara? I don't really have a lot else to say to Bruce Levine here other than, the reality for a lot of teams having these question marks is I don't care. I don't care how big the teams are. I don't care that it's New York, LA. I don't. The Cubs, they've had an awesome offense almost all season long, and to not fortify that offense with enough pitching, we saw this last year with the Padres. They went cold for the last 2 games of the playoffs, and it cost them. It cost them a ring. Literally, it was right there for the taking for them last year. A lot of people feel they were better.
Yeah.
And they just didn't play that way in the last 2 games. All right. Well, I want to turn our attentions from this boomer to a younger generational mind, Danny Parkins, who is no longer on the Score, but was visiting with the Score this week. And he actually had a bone to pick with the Chicago media. Let's hear what Danny Parkins had to say.
Watched a few Cubs games of late. And the Blue Jays and the Cardinals, and I've seen some sputtering offense, and then I've been more engaged with the online discourse, which has made me kind of tune in to the radio station discourse. And I got a bone to pick with fans and media, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
May I pick your bone?
The floor is yours.
Okay. Does Jed Hoyer hit right-handed or left-handed? Like, have I missed Jed Hoyer not hitting the ball in a big spot? Because when I'm watching and when I see the numbers, it's Kyle Tucker. It's Pete Crow Armstrong. It's the offense. They were slumping in July. They're slumping in August. They're slumping. Like, they're 6th in baseball in home runs. Kyle Tucker has 1 home run in the last 33 games. Was Bryce Harper traded at the deadline and I missed it? Like, it was universally regarded as a dud of a deadline because sellers were being delusional and holding on to pieces and asking a king's ransom for the good players. So very few good players were traded. And I heard a lot of, get me Mackenzie Gore, get me Alcantara, get me Justin Verlander, none of whom were traded and none of whom hit. The Cubs need to hit.
Danny, the reason why none of those players were traded is because the Cubs didn't give them the poker chips that they wanted for them. And, this is a problem with Jed Hoyer, in my opinion. We got to stop propping up these prospects like they're golden or something.
Also, you expect players, the one currently on the team, to go ahead and hit when the front office didn't have your back at the trade deadline.
It doesn't feel like it, does it?
Right. So
Mike Soroka, is that moving the needle in the locker room?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I mean, like I said,
Mindful
probably a
song.
nice guy, a nice piece, but obviously now he's injured and not even a part of it.
Right. You didn't sign
Willie
Kyle Tucker.
Castro, the super utility guy.
You didn't extend Kyle Tucker.
Did not extend him in the
So what
offseason.
signals are you sending to the whole team?
His agent is not Scott Boras.
Right.
You don't know that he wouldn't have signed an extension, especially when you're the Cubs. You're the 3rd largest market in baseball behind New York and
Absolutely.
LA, and you do not act like it.
No,
and that
you
pisses me off. It's pissed me off since I was a kid. You know, when the Tribune Company owned the Cubs, and they refused to spend money on a team, and they relied on tourism to Wrigley Field every year to make them filthy rich, and they would not reinvest it into the team.
Exactly. That's
I
the
thought
problem.
when Ricketts was taking over, we were moving past this BS, and we're right back in the middle of it again here. It's like they got the one championship, and that was it. That's enough. We fulfilled the prophecy. People can die again. I don't know. Why can't we have more? The Bulls won 6 in 8 years. That was a lot of fun. This answer is BS, and in my opinion, Jed Hoyer just didn't have the balls to trade prospects that we don't know if they're going to be good or not. You just don't know. It's all hypothetical hyperbole. AJ Preller has gotten a lot of crap for trading away
The farm?
his farm year after year after year. And I'm not saying James Wood isn't going to be a great player, and I'm not saying Leodalis DeVries isn't going to be a great player, but Mackenzie Gore hasn't gone 15-0 this year. We've seen him get knocked around a few times, actually. CJ Abrams hasn't developed into a perennial all-star. He was an all-star last year, but then he found the casino and things went south.
Sure.
So you can't just hold on to all these guys and think that they're going to become magnificent one day, because I just gave you 2 glaring examples. Both those guys were traded for Juan Soto, by the way, or played a part in it. You know, and James Wood went in there too, and he was the main prize, and he's going to be a good player most likely. But I don't know. I don't know why we're in love with holding on to these things when it's about winning now and this year, and you worry about it later. And I maybe we're just too spoiled by AJ doing it year in and year out. But
it's not just AJ doing it. The Mets are doing it. You know, the other teams are doing too.
the Mets did it. The Mariners did some moves this year to solidify their team, and then they win 8 in a row.
Yeah.
The Mets did do it, but the Mets have been slumping. They lost 12 out of 13 games
Well,
now.
that's
so
a different issue.
It is, but it's
But they do go out and get players. They do trade.
I think the bigger point is even Mets fans right now, if you were to go back and ask them, knowing what you know now, would you still want to make the moves that you made at the deadline and give up the future capital? They would say yes. They would say, I want my team to go for it. They're not even out of it right now, and they could turn their bats around again. But it's just not happening right now. They're struggling. But Danny really upset me with this. And, I do think it's Jed Hoyer's job not to hit a baseball, but to bring in reinforcements and reinvigorate the team and make the players in that locker room feel like management is behind them 100% in wanting to win a championship. I don't know if the Cubs locker room feels that way right now. Well, the craziness continued for a while, Nika. I want to go back to the morning show because Lou Canellis, the voice of the Bears, the Chicago Bears, was filling in for David Haw when this exchange went down. And this was Chris Chelios, former Blackhawk, joining them. And Lou Canellis, apparently Chris Chelios is friends with Anthony Rizzo.
And is it crazy for me to think that maybe Jed Hoyer makes a call to Anthony Rizzo and says,
Yes.
do you have any juice left back
It's
in
crazy.
that bat
This
to
is
come
crazy.
join us for the last 40 games in a playoff run?
What?
I mean, it's one or the other. I've been in situations where, they bring in veteran leadership, or they call up guys from the minors and give them a little extra, kickstart, and hope that one of them or two of them can, create some momentum and get everybody back, hitting But yeah, how do you not consider taking Riz back? He has his first child. He's loving that, him and his wife Emily, and I think he's content with that. But I think if someone, especially if the Cubs called him, I don't know the rules. Is it too late? You can still call guys up. I know you can't trade.
Hey, Anthony.
Yeah, I think you could still make an offer. I mean, right now he is not officially retired, has he?
No, not really.
Another Boomer
like I said,
Central
I
answers.
like I said, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but given the opportunity, now that he's had, and everybody's doing great. I don't see him not, leaving. And I mean, they can come together. The baby's so young, but that'd be greatest thing of Jed. What the city would go crazy. Quite honestly,
Oh, really?
It'd be something.
This is
It'd be,
a crazy
from a
idea.
PR
That's what
move,
it
even.
is.
But his leadership in the room. I don't care what
Fine.
anybody says. He had some injuries the last couple of years, but he was still the Yankees' best player during the
Oh.
playoffs.
Injured.
Quite honestly, as
I'm
far as
sorry.
hitting.
If he was
Dustin,
Yankees'
get him
best
on the
player,
phone. Get
wouldn't
Jed
you
Ho-
think he'll be on the Yankees?
I don't know. Is that the end of the clip?
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
end.
I thought so. Look, let's not get Rizzo on the phone, Jed Hoyer. I don't know what Lou Canellis is smoking so early in Chicago, but
Must be good.
must be fantastic. I think we should get number 44 back, Rizzo. What are you talking about? The man has not played in a game all season long. He is over 35 years old. He's older than Freddie Freeman. There's no way he's of any. And where's he going to play, by the way, on this Cubs team? You gonna put him in for Michael Bush? No, you're not. Are you going to DH him instead of Suzuki? No, you're not. What is he going to pinch hit late in games? Like, I don't think he would come back for that role. I don't know. The whole idea is a half-baked, wet dream of this man, I guess, to bring it up, right? Like he's playing fantasy baseball or something.
He's playing fantasy baseball because this is the only name he remembers from the championship team.
I feel like I'm watching the super fans right now. Like, hey,
Right.
let's bring back Rizzo. Yeah.
And Ditka.
Ditka can manage. I mean, that might be an improvement, but who knows? Look, this was an asinine idea, and you know, when you see stuff like this all day on the Score, you could possibly wonder, like, is there anything of value on this station? Because I just played 3 clips from you that I pretty much dismantled as being, in my opinion, is not quality coverage that the Cubs deserve right now. This is not getting to the root of the causes of their problems right now. The cause of their problems is that they were unwilling to do all that was necessary at the trade deadline to transform this team from a contender into a championship caliber roster. Right now, to me, they just are not it. I would have liked to have seen them go and get Zach Gallen and or Merrill Kelly and a Eugenio Suarez from the Diamondbacks. I would have liked to have seen them make that blockbuster trade, but they did not do that. So to me, that's their fault. That is the fault of Jed Hoyer. So I'm not buying it. And I also feel like if my team is not hitting like they were a couple months ago, it's my job as the manager to figure out why. And, you know, maybe they need to watch that Albert Pujols video we did a segment on and go and start hitting off the tee again, just like we want Fernando to start doing. Anyways, there is someone on the Score that said something that made some sense, and I wanted to call out that person, and it is Laurence Holmes. And he had this take in a YouTube short, actually. So I have no idea if this was like unedited or anything like that, because we edit shorts sometimes too. But this caught my attention because I was like, oh, finally, someone on this damn radio station is speaking with some sense about the Cubs. And maybe it's because Lawrence is a White Sox fan and he can divorce himself enough from the conversation to actually be unbiased about it.
Idea that you have so much good predictive analysis that you're projecting out into 2032 is ridiculous.
I think he's just trying to be clever and talk about the future.
That's one thing that, as much as I really like and respect this front office, I'm tired of them trying to explain how they're trying to win in the margins. There's a lot of boardroom baseball that feels disingenuous when I hear them discussing it. And I understand that their job is to foster both the present and the future. But when you project out that far, when you have an opportunity to be a World Series contender in 1 year, I don't want teams to sell out to just sell out, Speaks. I don't want that. But I do want there to be a strategy of, hey, our guys are really good, man. And so are those guys.
Let's try and win the World Series.
Let's try and win the World Series that's right in front of us.
Absolutely. That's how AJ Preller is navigating right now. And people call him crazy for it. And other GMs don't like the way he operates. But he just took every single hole on his current roster right now and turned it into a winner. In fact, they already overtook the Dodgers in the NL West. They play them this weekend, and it might not stay that way, but they're right there neck and neck with them. And they weren't supposed to be. The Cubs were the leading team in offense this year for a big chunk of the major league season. And what did they need to become a championship caliber team? They needed another big name ace, especially with Justin Steele going down early in the year. They needed to solidify their bullpen because, yes, they were better as of late, but we all know that you can never have enough bullpen arms. Hell, the Dodgers eliminated the Padres last year with their bullpen. They literally threw a bullpen game in the postseason.
Yeah.
They literally did that. And oh, by the way, they won a ring last year. And you don't want to go and get like look at what the Padres did this year. They had the best bullpen in baseball for most of this season, and they went out and got Mason Miller.
Another one, yeah.
Another one that they can throw at you now. So,
and what do the Cubs do? They DFA one of their pitchers.
What did the Cubs do? They didn't make their roster into a championship caliber team by filling in these holes. They needed that starting pitcher. Everyone knew that they needed a starting pitcher. They needed more bullpen help. Everyone knows it. And they could have used an offensive upgrade at third base. A lot of people know that as well. And that's nothing against Matt Shaw. He's actually been playing really good over the last month. So hopefully he continues to do that and is a gamer. But it wouldn't have hurt to gotten Eugenio Suarez, right?
Absolutely not.
So I'm just a little bit disappointed that the Cubs didn't go big, in my opinion, with this trade deadline, and they didn't keep up with the other teams. You know, like we mentioned this with Bruce Levine at the beginning, but you know, Bruce Levine is stuck in April, in my opinion. He's talking about the Tigers and the Yankees, and he's talking about the Dodgers, and he's talking about the Mets, and these are not the hot teams anymore in baseball. The hot teams right now are the Padres, the Mariners. And, oh, yeah, by the way, who am I forgetting?
Mariners.
No, I said them. The Padres and the Mariners and
the Brewers.
The Brewers. Thank you. Jeez, how could you forget about the Brewers? They're the ones that are torching the Cubs right now. And I feel like that's played into the Cubs' lethargicness as well a little bit, is the fact that the Brewers are just playing out of their minds right now. And it doesn't matter what the Cubs do, you know, win, lose. They seem to always be losing ground right now. So thanks to Laurence Holmes for speaking a little bit of common sense to the Chicago audience, and shame on the rest of you. You know, like, I love the score and I'm going to keep listening to the score, but this was some bad Cubs coverage this week. And y'all need to stop losing your minds and start criticizing the brass in charge for not having the balls to cash in those prospects. Do you want to become the Orioles? Do you want to become the Baltimore Orioles? Could happen sooner than later, especially if you don't re-sign Tucker and Owen Casey winds up being a bust. So good luck to him as he makes his Cubs debut.